What's up, Husker Nation? Welcome back to the Dirt Roads Football Show. I'm your host, as always, AJ. And today, I'm going to break down and my thoughts of the Nebraska-Iowa loss. So, obviously, Nebraska lost 13-10. Another close game. It's frustrating. I was mad. I actually had to take a break. I was going to record right after the game, and I just had to take a moment because I was pretty frustrated, pretty upset. Just irritated that once again Nebraska let a game slip through their hands, a game that they could have and should have won, and could have, should have, would have. But I mean, you only have was a minute and a half left in the fourth quarter. Tommy Hill gets a pick, puts them in prime position to go down and win the game, and Nebraska just couldn't do it. You had the holding penalty during the return when Tommy Hill picked it off. You had the hold, and then Purdy throws a pick, and that was pretty crucial. The offense just hasn't been consistent all year. It doesn't matter who's really been at quarterback. I know there's times where they're really humming and they're really smooth, like the Wisconsin game. That first quarter, they were smooth, they were humming, they were clicking on all cylinders, and then nothing. So it was the same today. They just couldn't find. I felt like they just had a hard time finding that rhythm. Obviously, Lloyd with that phenomenal catch. I mean, it was a great catch. Put on the burners, was gone. No one was catching him. Great throw by Purdy. Made a good read. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. I mean, Alvano missed 2 kicks, which, I mean, he's an 18, 19-year-old kid. I'm not going to sit here and put a game on him. It's not his fault. I'm not going to put a game on the refs. As bad as the play call, not the play calling, but as bad as the refs were, they missed a lot of blatant calls, in my opinion. As a team, you should do enough to not have to rely on the refs to help you win that game or to make those calls. Like the targeting call, I thought that was horse crap. I thought that was, by definition, targeting. He led with his helmet, forcible contact. Should have been targeting. It wasn't called. But at the end of the day, that's the ref's decision. And like I said, teams should play well enough to not have to rely on the refs to make those calls. You're not always going to get those calls. There's holding on every play. It's just how it is. It's frustrating because Tommy Hill gets that interception in the fourth quarter, about a minute and a half left. They start going down the field, and then Purdy throws the pick. I mean, those kinds of things happen. You're going to throw a pick. Nebraska leads the nation in turnovers. So it's a terrible stat to have. But I mean, that's just how Nebraska football was this year, and it was the difference in the game. Special teams played well; they pinned them deep. They played the field position game pretty well, in my opinion. They blocked 2 kicks. I mean, you can't really ask much more than that. The defense once again kept them in the game, and it's not like Iowa has this prolific, high-power offense that's just phenomenal and putting up yards every year or every game. Really, that their offense has been terrible the past couple of years, realistically. But their defense puts them in a good position, and the offense capitalizes it when it has to, and that's how they won those games. Nebraska just hasn't done that this year. They didn't do that in this game. So I mean, it's tough. It's tough as a Nebraska fan because we put so much into it. We put so much love and support into this team. And for them to not make a bowl game is heartbreaking. It sucks. I watch all these games every chance I get, which is pretty much every Saturday or Friday that they play on. Like I'm watching the game, even when I'm not home and I'm off somewhere else for work or whatever the case is. Like I always make sure that I tune into the game or make sure I can watch the game, and it sucks, but I mean, they did make improvements, and this has got to... And we as fans have to have some kind of positivity because it can't be all doom and gloom, because at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. This is Matt Rule's first year. I mean, he has literally been head coach for a year, didn't get a lot of his pieces together until after the year. And I think they're just going to need more time. They need more time to be consistent. I think that the offense definitely needs it. I mean, you lost your top 3 receivers, your top 2 running backs, and your 2 of your offensive linemen throughout the year. So it already puts you in a bad spot because you don't have those veterans out there who, can read a defense just a little bit better, just have more time at the college level. So it's a big difference between high school football and, NCAA and college football, just from a speed standpoint. So they're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger. The game goes faster. They're going to throw different things at you. I mean, you have 18-year-old receivers going up against 20, 21, 22-year-old DBs. You know what I mean? That's a lot to ask for of these kids. It's a lot. It really is, especially as big as like Satterfield has said his playbook is. It's a lot to throw at them, and they've had to play these kids by necessity. And they've gone out and they've shown that they can make the plays. Coleman had a couple catches. Lloyd obviously had the touchdown pass. I mean, they've shown that they can make it. They just can't do it on a consistent basis. So, but I've seen the improvement. There's been improvement every single game in one aspect or another, and I think that they just need more time to gel. And it sucks because they could have gotten more time with the bowl game. But now they're more than likely not going to go to a bowl game unless they just don't have enough teams that are above, or that are 500 or above, and then they start going to the 5 and 7 teams and so on and so forth, however that works. I want to say it's all based off of like the team GPA. Whatever teams have the higher GPA or the 5 and 7 teams that the NCAA will ask, like, hey, do you want to play in the bowl game? So if that does happen, I really hope that Nebraska says yes, we'll take a game, because honestly they need the practice, they need the reps, especially if Purdy's going to be playing. Like, you need those reps. He needs those reps. He was on scout team the whole year up until the week of the Wisconsin game. That's not a lot of time playing within your own system. He's out there running other teams' systems just to give the defense a good look. So, I mean, it's tough, but there has to be some kind of positivity to it. So I think that Matt Rule is headed in the right direction. I do think he's a great coach. I think he cares. I know he wants to build. I think he wants to build this program up and keep taking it up. I'm hoping that, you know, Tony White stays and at least does another year, maybe even 2 years as defensive coordinator here. He's done a phenomenal job. That was probably Matt Rule's best hire, hands down, was Tony White as defensive coordinator. He has done a phenomenal job all year. He got that team ready, and that defense has kept Nebraska in games, in every single game except for the Colorado game and the Michigan game. Those are the only 2 games that they just kind of, they lost the handle on it. And I think the Colorado game was just pure, they didn't have all their guys ready yet. They had players that, you know, only had a few weeks of practice in. I know they were talking about how Ty Robinson really just started to hit his rhythm late in the season because he was out for spring ball and fall ball. So, I mean, he's playing behind the curve. And with Ty Robinson coming back, which is super great, and Hutmacher, who's hopefully coming back, that's just going to anchor that line for next year, because they are going to need it. With the Big Ten changing their schedule next year, they're going to be playing USC and a lot of those other teams that have a high-powered offense. So those guys are going to have to be an anchor for that defense. So hopefully they go out and they get some good portal picks. Hopefully they keep the recruiting class that they have. I'm going to do some more videos on some of those other things throughout the year, or throughout the off season. So I want to do a preview of the Big Ten title game. That's something I really want to do. Obviously it's going to be Iowa and either Michigan or Ohio State. I think Michigan's going to win out. I think Michigan has a better defense, a little bit better of a defense, and I just think that they're going to lean on that run game real heavy, and I think they're going to wear down Ohio State. I could be wrong, but I think that's what's going to happen. So I want to do a prediction on that, like once we find out who wins tomorrow. But and just, I'm going to try to follow recruiting and, you know, all those kinds of things, and keep putting out content, because truthfully, college football is, you know, 24/7, 365. You know, there's always something going on between like the portal and recruiting classes and, you know, all those other kinds of things. There's a lot of content to be pumped out, so I'm going to go over a bunch of that stuff, and I'm just going to keep putting out videos, and just have to wait until next year to see more football. So got about another, what, 9 months before football starts up again, 10 months. So I'm going to watch all the college games I can while I can. I always watch most of the bowl games, all the good ones anyways. Obviously I'm going to watch the playoffs and, you know, the championship, the college football championship game. I'm going to watch all of those. I might do a little bit of content on those depending on who's playing. So if Michigan and Ohio State are in the mix, then, which they should, one of those teams should be in the mix. So hopefully I'll put out some more content on that kind of stuff, and then just whatever other content you guys want to hear. I've been thinking about maybe doing a little Nebraska football history, or, you know, breaking some old school stuff down, not to relive the past, just to maybe help people that just stumble across this channel like, oh, I don't really watch football, but, you know, maybe I'll start watching, or whatever the case is. So I'll put some of that content out. But I appreciate everyone coming out. Tough loss, like I said before, but I think we have to stay positive and maintain a positive mindset about where this football program is going, because I do think it is headed in the right direction. So, I mean, yeah, it's heading in the right direction, so we have to be positive about it. It sucks. It really sucks. But I appreciate everyone for coming out as always. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, and subscribing. If you want to hear more, if you want to hear anything else, leave a comment in the description below. Let me know what's going on. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about. And as always, I'll catch you on the next